What are my favorite picks in each round of redraft fantasy football for 2025? We'll talk about that in today's video. As always, guys, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and join our Discord. Link is in the description of this video. It's free. Get in there. Start, sit, trade questions, dynasty, redraft, whatever you have, you can ask them in there. And potentially you can get into a real money redraft league with us. Hop into the Discord. It's August 7th. This is the first full weekend of preseason football. We had the Hall of Fame game already a week ago. We are between Thursday, today, and Sunday. We get every single team playing in their first preseason game, at least their first preseason game. And it's time to start looking at some of my favorite picks in each and every round of this year's fantasy redraft season. Now I'm going through rounds 1 through 10. I'll do another video about later rounds later on, but rounds 1 through 10, picking the player that I like in each round. This is according to consensus half PPR. This is gathered from Sleeper, Yahoo, and a couple other websites. And again, just kind of going through every single round and my favorite pick. In round 1, it's Christian McCaffrey. I know there's kind of two camps here. Either you love him or you hate him. It's I hate Christian McCaffrey. He ruined my season last year. Or I love him because I had him 2 years ago or 3 years ago when he won me fantasy football and broke fantasy football. Christian McCaffrey, if healthy, is going to be at worst the top 5 fantasy football player this year. In half PPR, in full PPR, doesn't really matter. That's what I believe. If he's healthy, he's going to be top 5, potentially the best fantasy asset in this year, in fantasy football this year. And he could potentially break fantasy football once again. I get it. The injury stuff, it's concerning, but by all accounts, he's healthy, and I'm going to roll with that. If he's healthy to start the year, I'm going to be taking Christian McCaffrey. Honestly, I'm not going to let him fall. If I'm picking in the top 5 or so, I'm probably not going to let him fall too far. Maybe I'll diversify and take him in a couple leagues and not take him in others. But if I just had one league, I would probably be comfortable taking Christian McCaffrey 4th or 5th overall in half or full PPR. I mean, we all know how good he is. It's all about injuries. And I know people are going to point out, like, well, what if they use Isaac Guerrero more? What if they lighten his load? One, I don't think it's really going to matter too much for McCaffrey. He's still going to get the catches. He's still going to get the touchdowns. Maybe he gets a little bit less carries, but he's still going to get catches and touchdowns, and that's what gives you fantasy points. And 2, go look at last year. Christian McCaffrey missed the first 8 weeks of the season due to his, leg injuries, right? He comes back in week 10. This is after missing 9 weeks because they had the bye week. Comes back in week 10, and he plays 87.5% of the snaps, 93.7% of the snaps, 81.6% of the snaps, and then gets injured in week 13. He literally, they didn't ease him in. They didn't lighten his load, even though he was coming off a leg injury. He was playing over 85% of the snaps in the his first 3 games of the season last year. And by the way, they had Jordan Mason there. Jordan Mason, who was running the ball well. I think Jordan Mason, up until that point, might have been leading the NFL in rushing. And they just said, sorry, McCaffrey's back. So I'm all about McCaffrey round 1. Super excited about him, as I am about Devontae Han. I would take HN in the first round as well. I don't really understand why HN, you can see the rankings here, round 2, pick 14. I don't really understand why we shouldn't group HN in with guys like Derrick Henry, definitely above Ash and Genty. Maybe you can have them, you have the top tier guys and running backs in Barkley, Bijan, Gibbs, and I would throw McCaffrey in there. HN should be at worst in that next tier. HN's awesome, man. Like, what else do we need to see from HN? He's played in the NFL 2 years, right? He's played in the NFL 2 years. And again, we're looking at half PPR numbers. PPR, he's even better. But in 2023, HN, remember, he was super, super efficient. In 2023, HN was RB4, averaging 16.1 points per game. And by the way, that includes 2 games. One where he was beginning of the year, he didn't do anything, but he still played. And another one where he left very early on. He still averaged 16.1 points in half PPR per game. Last year, HN averaged 15.3 half PPR points per game. With Tua on the field, HN's numbers are insane. I think his numbers are something like 1,700 total yards, 17 touchdowns, and over 100 catches with Tua on the field. This team, by the way, the Dolphins, what did they do to really add to the receiving room to make you worried that HN's not going to potentially lead all running backs in catches next year, this coming year in 2025 with 70? catches or so. They're running it back with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They added Nick Westbrook-Akine. Malik Washington's still there. They got rid of Jonnu Smith, who caught a bunch of passes last year, and they brought in an old Darren Waller who sat out a year. Like, I think it's rinse and repeat with Achane. I think he's going to get over 70 catches. He's scored, I believe, he's averaged 11 and a half touchdowns over his first 2 seasons. He's probably going to be very efficient running the ball. I'm not worried about Jalen Wright, Alexander Madison, or Ollie Gordon really taking significant work away from Achane. Achane, I love. I would take him in the first round. Man, if I can start off my draft with McCaffrey and Achane, I am ecstatic, right? Like, I am just over the moon with that start. So I don't get why Achane's not held in a little bit higher regard. I think, obviously, him being a little bit smaller, we're going to be a little worried, but we have 2 years of sample size. 1 year, Achane missed some games. Last year, Achane played 17 games. I can't consider him injury prone, even though he's a smaller running back than we're used to. Round 3, it's another running back. It's Kairen Williams. Now, Kairen Williams is moving up boards. I think he's moved up about 4 spots over the last couple weeks or so, maybe just a week, and that's because he just got paid. I've been talking about Kairen Williams. If you guys watch the channel, we do a lot of dynasty talk, and I've been talking about Kairen Williams since seems like February of this year, of just like, why is Kairen Williams not ranked higher in dynasty rankings, right? Why is he not? And that's kind of translated a little bit over to redraft as well, because like it or not, redraft and dynasty, they're connected. Why is Kairen Williams, who's 25 years old, not even 25 years old, on one of the best offenses in the league, who use him all the time? He's a legitimate workhorse running back, and he scored 31 touchdowns over the last 2 years. Why is he not considered and held in higher value? Why is his value not higher? Why is he going in round 3? I would take him in round 2. He's over the last 2 years, no running back has been better than Kairen Williams. Nope. No running back has been better than Kairen Williams over the last 2 years. No one. He's been about top 6 or 7 each of the last 2 years. He was RB2 in points per game, I believe, in 2023. I think he was right around RB7 last year. He's been pretty consistent. He scored a lot of touchdowns. I'm not worried about Blake Corum. I'm not worried about Jarquez Hunter. The Rams are not the type of team, guys. They're not the type of team to use a split backfield. The only time they ever really did that is when they didn't have a true workhorse. They had like Henderson and there was someone else who, when someone got hurt, they were using a couple guys off the street type of thing. It was Henderson and someone else. Look at Kairen Williams. He played in 86.7% of the snaps last year. In 2023, Kairen Williams played in 82.1% of the snaps last year. They did this with Todd Gurley. They did this with obviously Kairen Williams. They did this with Sony Michel for a stretch. They did it with Cam Akers. This is what the Rams do. They find a running back that's playing well, that's good for their team, and they use the hell out of him. I am scooping up, man. If I could start off my draft with like Chase, Jamar Chase, whoever I can get, Kairen Williams and whoever else I can get right around in that 2-3 turn, I am just, again, over the moon once again. In round 4, it's DK Metcalf. This one's getting a little bit more concerning. DK Metcalf is currently going at pick 48 in half PPR. And again, I just kind of think about like, I've been saying since Metcalf went to the Steelers, and this was even before Rodgers officially signed, that I think Metcalf's in line for his best season yet. So his best season to date is 2020, 83 catches, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. That's his best season. He's actually been kind of a disappointment since then. But I just can't imagine a world where DK Metcalf is not getting 130, 140 targets, and that might be kind of light. But let's just say he gets 130 targets. DK Metcalf gets 130 targets. His catch rate in his career is right around 60%. That means he's going to catch around 80 passes, right? He's going to catch right around 80 balls. He's averaged in his career right around 14.5 yards per reception. That's over almost 1,200 yards, guys. We're talking about 80 catches and 1,200 yards, right? 80 catches and 1,200 yards. Plus, let's give him 7 touchdowns, right? Let's just give him 7 touchdowns. That's going to put him as a low-end wide receiver 2. I think right now where he's being drafted right around a low-end wide receiver 2. I think you're getting him at his floor, personally. And I think he has the ceiling to be a top 5 wide receiver. I really do. If Rodgers can just be kind of what he was last year, I think people forget. But man, just how good Garrett Wilson was before um, Devontae Adams came into the picture. Garrett Wilson last year, 11, 6, 9, 8, 23, 10, 9, 8, 10. And then I think Devontae Adams came to the Jets and his target number went down. But he was on pace. That first half of the season, Garrett Wilson, he was on pace for kind of an insane target number. Now, Metcalf's never been a huge target guy, but man, Rodgers in his career hyper targets the guys he likes, whether it's Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson. I mean, even Alan Lazard there, that last year in Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers, Alan Lazard was on pace for like 115 targets. Even if DK Metcalf gets 115, 120 targets, he's going to be a top 30 wide receiver, top 24 wide receiver. I just think he has top 5 potential. I'm all over DK Metcalf. End of round 4 there. Round 5, it's TreVon Henderson. I mean, you start looking at round 5 in half PPR, and you start getting guys like that. You're not, you have Rashee Rice, who has injury / suspension concerns. Cortland Sutton's a decent pick. Laporta, Montgomery, Mixon with his injury stuff. Devontae Smith is always a little, boom bust type of wide receiver. Do you take Patrick Mahomes, RJ Harvey, Zay Flowers, who I'm not super excited on? Xavier Worthy, we'll see. TreVon Henderson, I am excited about. I'm excited about TreVon Henderson. I personally think that TreVon Henderson could be the second. He could be second in catches for the Patriots. Do I think it's likely? No. I think it's more likely he's like third. But do I think it's possible that he leads the Patriots or he's second on the team in catches? I do. And TreVon Henderson to me is the type of running back, and I've been saying this since scouting him early in the year. He doesn't need 20, 25 touches. That's not my concern. I need him to give me 12 to 15 touches a game with 3.5 catches a game, 3 to 4 catches a game, and 8 to 10 carries a game. And I think TreVon Henderson could be very, very good with those type of numbers. I think he's explosive. I do think they're going to use Ramondre Stevenson still a decent bit, but TreVon Henderson could just be the best weapon on this team, point blank, flat out, no arguments, right? You have a older Stephon Diggs, you have Demario Douglas, who's a fine wide receiver, Mac Hollins, Kendrick Bourne, Kyle Williams, Hunter Henry. TreVon Henderson could just be the best weapon for this team, and they could just make it a point to get the ball in his hands. Think of DeAndre Swift, who, by the way, DeAndre Swift is next on this. Think of DeAndre Swift and kind of what he was doing before last year, the last couple of years, like what he was doing in Detroit. He was getting like 180 carries, 50-ish catches. I could see a season like that for TreVon Henderson. Speaking of, we have DeAndre Swift here, who I, again, really, really like this year. I think people would be kind of shocked to hear that DeAndre Swift, since coming into the league, where he has finished in points per game. Now, he had injury concerns the beginning of his career, but in half PPR, DeAndre Swift, his rookie year, RB20, 12.8 points per game. 2021, DeAndre Swift was RB12, 13.7 half PPR points per game. 2022, I think that's his last year with the Lions. DeAndre Swift was RB18. By the way, that was with Ben Johnson. RB18 in points per game, 11.9 points per game. 2023, he was on the Eagles, right? DeAndre Swift, 11.2 points per game, RB24. Last year, DeAndre Swift, RB22, 11.4 points per game. The guy has literally he's always been an RB2. And he even had an RB1 points per game season, but he's always been at worst. His worst finish in his career is RB24. And we're looking at a situation now where you can get him in round 6. I'm not sure what RB number he's going as. I guess I can search that up kind of quickly, but you're literally getting him in round 6 on a team who has DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, and Kyle Monangai that did nothing to address the running back position. I think the offense is going to be better. Even if he kind of reverts back to what he was with the Lions, where he was more of a 8 to 10 carry guy with some catches, right? Even if he reverts back to that a little bit, I still think you're getting an RB2 here, and you're getting him incredibly late. So I'm all in on deAndre Swift. He's going as the RB23. I think you're getting him as his floor, and he has the potential to just be kind of a workhorse for this team if Roshan and Manungai aren't very good. Round 7, and by the way, guys, don't forget to hit the like button and join our Discord if you are enjoying this. We're going to also have players that I hate in each round video that will be coming out as well. Jerry Jeudy, round 7, pick 76. This is another situation of just like, I think we're a little bit skeptical, right? We're a little bit skeptical of like, okay, is what we saw from Jeudy really what, is that really it? He did have a big game, that huge game, which kind of inflates his numbers just a little bit. That being said, look at the wide receiver core for this team. It's Jerry Jeudy and not much else. You have Cedric Tillman, who was nice for 3 games. Like, sure, could Cedric Tillman be a good player? Yes, but he had a 3-game stretch, guys. We have to be realistic with ourselves. He also could just not be good. Jamari Thrash, who was a rookie last year, I think 3rd or 4th round pick, who did nothing, is listed as their wide receiver 3. Deontay Johnson, David Bell, who's done nothing in his career for the last 3-4 years. DeAndre Carter, like, they're obviously their second target is David Njoku, but Jerry Jeudy, if Joe Flacco is the quarterback, even if Joe Flacco is the quarterback for 5 or 6 games and they move on to Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, even if Joe Flacco is the starter for 5-6 games, I still think Judy's going to be worth it. He's going to, those 5-6 games, which by the way, 5 or 6 games is like over a third of the fantasy regular season. If Jerry Jeudy wins you 3 games there because he puts up massive numbers with Flacco and you're taking him in round 7, that's worth it. And then he's just kind of a wide receiver 2 or 3 the rest of the season. I just think Jerry Jeudy, who I know he was kind of labeled as a bust, before last year. It's not like he was a complete bust. He had a really good rookie year for a rookie. He had a solid 3rd year, and then obviously he broke out last year. I just see no competition. I see a team that could be trailing by a lot, and they're just going to have to force feed Jerry Jeudy the ball. And by the way, last year, Jerry Jeudy was the wide receiver 15 in half PPR. He was the wide receiver 15, and I know people are going to say, well, they might not score touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns last year and was the wide receiver 15. So I just like Jerry Jeudy in round 7. Round 8, it's Cooper Kupp. I know people are going to kind of cringe at that, especially Cooper Kupp managers last year. Did you know? I don't think another thing that people don't realize is how good Cooper Kupp was last year before the fantasy playoffs. Now, that's a big thing, right? Because he just tanked in the fantasy playoffs. But you go from week 1 to week 14, which is for most people is the fantasy regular season. Cooper Kupp in half PPR points per game was the wide receiver 6. Now, he missed 4 games or 4 or 5 games. But when he played, he was the wide receiver 6, guys. Literally saying when he played, he was good. I'm going to take a shot on Cooper Kupp in a lot of leagues. I'm taking a shot on him. Again, just kind of look at the players he's going around. Evan Ingram, Deebo Samuel, Kyler Murray, Njoku, ETN, Stephon Diggs, like some players that could do stuff that could be good, but could any of them be like top 5, 6 players, at their position, except for maybe Evan Ingram, but, tight end 6 is not as valuable as wide receiver 7. I don't really see it, honestly. Maybe Stephon Diggs, but I don't really see it, to be honest. I think Cooper Kupp, if he's just healthy, he's one of those, if he's healthy type of guys, I think he could be good. I don't think his age is a red flag for me quite yet. He just turned 32. You can get one more year out of Cooper Kupp at the age of 32. So I'm going to be snatching him up here in round 8 for sure. Round 9 is Justin Fields. I mean, holy crap, man. If I can get my quarterback in round 9, and I also think my quarterback could be top 7, man, just think of all the players. I generally like to wait on quarterbacks, but when I wait on quarterbacks, I acknowledge that, like, okay, I'm hoping to get at best a low-end QB1, right? QB11, QB12, right? I take two dart throws at guys like Jared Goff and Justin Herbert or something and say, okay, one of you or one of you two are probably going to be QB 10 in points per game this year or total points, right? If I could still wait on my quarterback and get a guy that I think could be top 7, top 5, holy crap, am I excited about that. Justin Fields, Justin Fields has started and played in a majority of games. So games where Justin Fields has started and played in 70% or more of the snaps, he has 42 of those in his career from 2021 to 2024. He has 42 of those. In those games, he's averaged 18.4 points per game, which usually will put you right around QB 10 to 12, right? If you remove the first handful of games where he was, a rookie and starting, which, I think it's reasonable to do that because a rookie starting in their first handful of games are not going to be very good. If you remove that drops it down to 35 games, 19.2 points per game, and that puts you closer to top 5 in points per game. There's no one. I think this is the best team he's ever played on. He has some weapons around him, not great weapons, but he has some weapons. He has a run game. I think he has a coach that believes in him. And he has no one. They're not going to bench him for Tyrod Taylor. The only way Tyrod Taylor is playing is if Justin Fields is hurt. Holy crap. Give me Justin Fields as my QB1 all the way in round 9. And that QB1 can finish as a top 5 guy. Please, please. And last up here, we got in round 10, we have Ameer Ibuka. But, round 10, it's starting to get a little gross with the names a little bit. I mean, you have guys like some quarterbacks like Kairen Williams, Jonnu Smith, Ramondre Stevenson, Tyler Warren, J.K. Dobbins. Ameer Ibuka, man, I believe in the talent. I think he's a very, very good player. I think he can come out right out of the gates and be good. I think he's one of those rookie wide receivers who I just think the type of receiver that he is can be successful from day one in the NFL. I think Chris Godwin's going to have a slow September. Ameer Ibuka is going to play a lot of that. By the way, Mike Evans is 31, 32 years old or so, and he's kind of injury prone. So I just think Ameer Ibuka is going to be on the field. He's going to be playing with a good quarterback and a good offense. And I just think you potentially could be getting the wide receiver 2 for the Buccaneers for the first 4 to 6 weeks. And I think that's going to improve a lot of value. And by the way, who knows what he is beyond that? Mike Evans will be 32 before the season starts. So there you have it, guys. Those are 10 players, rounds 1 through 12, that I love in this year's fantasy drafts. Make sure to like and subscribe and be on the lookout for the next video. Catch you guys all then.